What is going on, guys? It is WrestleMania here, back with another episode. So previously we saw the 5 best years of pro wrestling, and if you didn't, just click the eye in the top right corner to see it. In this video we're going to look back at the most deplorable years of pro wrestling. I'm telling you, I'd rather watch Sonny's hardcore porn movie than relive some of these years. So with that disgusting thought in your mind, let's start off with the first one, the year 1994. Longtime fans often remark that one of WCW's biggest problems in the early 90s was they copied everything about the WWF and dropped everything special about WCW, such as matches based on athleticism rather than hype. By 1994, it clearly wasn't working, so Eric Bischoff talked Ted Turner into bringing the man who'd made the WWF into a juggernaut in the 1980s, Hulk Hogan. This signing came at the expense of WCW talent like Steve Austin and Brian Pillman, who played second banana not only to Hogan, but to Hogan's cronies, guys like Brutus Beefcake, Jim Duggan, and the Honky Tonk Man. Although fans were excited to see a Hogan vs Flair series, their excitement turned into disappointment when Flair became Hogan's glorified jobber to the stars, losing a retirement match to Hogan at Halloween Havoc. As bad as that was, longtime fans also had to see the granddaddy of them all, Starrcade, sullied by a main event between Hogan and the villainous Brutus Beefcake, who is now known as the Butcher. As bad as this was, it was just the groundwork for 1995. So, unsurprisingly, the year 1995. Whilst 1994 was hit and miss with the WWF, it was still better than WCW. 1995 was different as both promotions were flat out crap. James Dixon's book Titan Sinking was written with the purpose of examining arguably the worst year in professional wrestling in the last 30 years. This is one of those cases where you don't know where to begin. Do you begin with the 500-pound Mabel, a big man who amassed a big list of legitimate injuries to wrestlers due to his incompetence, yet was chosen to win the King of the Ring that year? Sure, there were great workers like Bret the Hitman Hart, but they often found themselves in terrible programs. In Hart's case, he wrestled the diabolical Doctor of Dentistry, Isaac Yankem. And friends, that's just the tip of their crapberg. Down south, WCW fans had to endure the wrestling equivalent to a colonoscopy as Hulk Hogan battled the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan's Dungeon of Doom. This included battles with the WWF throwaways such as Avalanche, the artist formerly known as Earthquake, and a bandage-encased big man named the Yeti. The arrival of the big man known as the Giant went from sugar to shit when it was implied that he was Andre the Giant's actual son. A monster truck battle at Halloween Havoc killed what little suspension of disbelief WCW fans had in the product when Hogan tossed off the Giant off the roof of the arena, only for the Giant to show up later for the main event without much as a scratch. Whether it was a case of things not being able to get any worse or Eric Bischoff realizing he had to do something, 1996 saw the biggest comeback in the history of professional wrestling as Bischoff launched the game-changing New World Order angle. Oof, you're not gonna like the next one. The year 2001. 2001 seemed to be a great year for wrestling fans, but in terms of the long-term picture, it was a complete disaster. A dying WCW was brought out by Vince McMahon, ending the Monday Night War for good. ECW sputtered out of business as it battled the network it aired on and just couldn't stay afloat. Wrestling fans got excited when the WWF teased an invasion by the former stars of WCW, but interest sagged when said stars turned out to be the mid-carders and a few upper-carders. When ECW and WCW wrestlers joined forces, fans' interest peaked. Despite the angle revolving around Vince and Linda McMahon against their kids Stephanie and Shane, the Invasion pay-per-view was a tremendous success, but bad booking saw an angle that could have lasted at least through WrestleMania, cut early by the short-sighted Vince McMahon. McMahon's unwillingness to invest in top stars from WCW and take a chance on an angle would be an omen of the next several years as the WWF rested on its laurels. The year 2003. Although smarks and so-called pro wrestling journalists complain about the presence of the McMahons on WWE television, the McMahon family have proven themselves as draws when handled correctly. The problem is when the fans get too much of a good thing. In 2003 they got more of the McMahons than ever seen before. First and foremost was Vinnie Mac's son-in-law Triple H, who refused to put over people for most of the year, including a lackluster main event at WrestleMania 19 with Booker T and a feud with Kevin Nash that saw fans taking an over-under on how many moves Nash could execute without injuring himself. While Triple H did the honors for Bill Goldberg, Goldberg's title reign was so short it meant nothing. That in itself might not have been bad, but Vinnie Mac's win over Zach Gowen at Vengeance, his submission win over daughter Stephanie at No Mercy, and a jaw-dropping win over Taker at Survivor Series in a Buried Alive match had fans wondering if Vince would make the Pro Wrestling Illustrated top 10 of that year. 2003's All in the Family theme continued with Shane O'Mac feuding with the Big Red Machine Kane after he pile-drove Shane's mum Linda. If the McMahon 24/7 routine didn't anger fans enough, the news that Stone Cold Steve Austin's neck problems precluded him from wrestling was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. The year 2007. You know it's gonna be a crappy year when it starts off with an overrated rapper, Kevin Federline, challenging the WWE Champion. Sadly though, the year was plagued by the discovery that Chris Benoit murdered his wife and young son before using his Bowflex in a way that voided the warranty and him along with it. Once learning of Benoit's murder-suicide, the WWE made all efforts to erase him from the history books. Since the incident, there has been zero mention of Benoit's achievements in the WWE. Their death also killed off what could have been one of the biggest storylines in WWE history, with the death of Vince McMahon and the illegitimate son angle. The company was also hit with a further scandal just 2 months later with an investigation into the online signature pharmacy based out of Orlando, Florida, where it was revealed that more than a dozen members of their roster had been purchasing performance-enhancing drugs after the WWE wellness policy had been implemented a year earlier. Though the names weren't publicly released, among the 10 assumed to have been suspended were Edge, Chris Masters, Johnny Nitro, Umaga, and William Regal. Let's not forget the year had some of WWE's worst champions in history, including Hornswoggle as Cruiserweight Champion and the Great Khali as Heavyweight Champion. I mean, Jesus, what the hell were they thinking? Well guys, you've seen my picks for the best of the best and the creme de la crap. I'm sure many might not agree with my list, but please leave a like if you enjoyed the video and comment down below on what years you thought were the worst in wrestling history. Please subscribe to more, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.